Hi, I'm Cynthia from Empowered to Free. Welcome to today's session of Is Finding Meaningful Job Important? Thank you everyone for coming along to today's session. Today I have with me Jess from Pearl Consulting, who will be sharing her story. And I'll leave it at that and then just let her take it from here.
Hey, thanks, Cynthia. Hi, everyone. I'm Jess. I'm a business manager of Pearl Consulting Services, which is basically a social impact consultancy firm that advocates for cross-sector partnerships by delivering mutual benefits for corporates, non-profits, and government partners through strategic deployments of social impact initiatives. So this initiative basically leverages on the resources of the corporates and come up with partnerships that will help to meet the needs of the local communities. So that's my professional front. So on my personal front, I'm a lifelong learner, and I'm passionate about making education in any shape or form accessible to all, regardless of their income and social status. So in my very own idealistic fashion, it makes me wonder how many of the world's most pressing problems can be addressed if we could unlock the untapped minds.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Jess. That was really interesting. We will now open the floor to questions from the participants. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself. Which audience you target on? We got a little chat from Casey.
Yes. Which audience you target on? Maybe I'll just clarify some. When you mean audience, do you mean maybe you could just help to give some pointers about what do you mean by the audience?
What kind of social agencies or NGOs, VWOs you help on?
Okay. Okay, so for Pearl, they are quite unique in a way where the work that we do is actually more regional. So we have teams in different markets like Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and actually even in India and Pakistan. So what they do is that I think a big part of what we do in terms of social impact consultancy is looking at what are some of the public policy objectives of our corporates, and seeing what they hope to achieve in the different markets, and then as well as trying to match what are the skills and resources that these corporates can provide to meet some of the needs in the local communities. So specifically, if you're talking about social agencies or NGOs, maybe one story that I want to share, that very most recently actually met with this beneficiary. It's called the Rainbow Reading Garden. So it's basically an NGO that was started out by this lady in Indonesia, who basically just has this dream of sharing the joys of reading to the communities back home. So she was specifically from an area in Indonesia, which is Eastern Indonesia, which is some of the few very remote communities where basically access to education and books are not as widespread as what they could get from like bigger cities like in Jakarta. So she was part of this social impact program that Pearl actually done with Meta, or rather Facebook. So what they do is they actually train these women-led small businesses, in this case, a Rainbow Reading Garden, to really leverage on Facebook as a platform to do digital marketing outreach. How do they even train them as to how can they communicate the mission of their organizations to fundraise, and as well as pitching to potential donors. So so in fact, I think she was one of the early few organizations who was part of this program that they call it the She Means business. So specifically catering to women-led businesses and charities. So for her, through this platform, she was able to reach out to donors and expand to the good work that she does. So I think to date, she has actually built around 147 libraries in the eastern Indonesia region, and providing access of books to around 36,000 children. Yeah, so this is just one of the examples.
Did you have any questions to ask, Renee? Or
Jess, you mentioned like we can achieve a lot of things if we just unlock our minds, right? I was wondering if you could explain a bit more on that.
Oh, yeah, I think it's a very idealistic utopia that I always had in my mind. If we could, because I do think that education gives people access, and it also changes the way we see things and perspectives. And because of that, I think it just gives me, I sometimes ponder, could we, in a way, not changing lives, but access to some of the deeper thinking of people, if we could, how should I put this? Yeah, I guess in a way is to change people thinking through education. That's what, if that really puts across. Yeah.
I think that's fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to put in a spot.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
I was also wondering how a common person like myself can maybe contribute to the cause.
I think earlier Cynthia was asking him a question about finding purpose in work. So I think a big part of, I think first you have to understand what is the values and the kind of impact that you want to effect on the community. So common people, I won't say common people, because I think every individual has the strength and the ability to effect change. It could just be at a grassroots level, or it could just even be extending kindness to your neighbors. I think that itself is doing good work in a way. Yeah, so I think probably the very first step is just look around you and see what are some of the needs in your local community, and whether can you use your skill set and try to resolve this. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
yeah, I kind of agree with Jess. You sometimes tend to forget what you can do from your surrounding. That was really good. I think just to keep this going, I'm just going to prompt a few more questions to Jess. So, what is the difference that you wish to make through your work?
Difference for me. So I think this is also part of one of the bigger reasons why I joined POL. So POL as an organization aligns itself with some of the SDG goals, and one of it is which the CEO, which is Jillian, which is the founder of the company, really puts out there and reminds everyone in the company it's about gender equality. So this is a value that I really align myself with in how I could be an advocate for that. So I would really want to be part of the bigger programs that POL does that kind of fits into the achievement of this greater goal. So one of such is like the program that I shared earlier, which is the She Means Business program, which is really looking out to empower our women-led businesses. So just being part of these programs really drives me to stay on the road at POL, and knowing that what I do really fits into this larger objective.
Moving kind of like leading on from that question as well, when you shared your kind of like your biggest difference is in relation to gender inequality, what would you say, or why would you say that this cause matters to you the most, if you don't mind sharing?
This cause matters to me the most. Not that. No, just like you're not that because of women, right? No, it's not about that. I think often people are being imposed on gender roles, and or rather they are defined by. Often people are defined by their genders, which I think it shouldn't be the case. So in commonly thrown around words like a patriarchal society, unfortunately, women are often seen as a second-class citizen, and as a result, there's actually a lot of untapped potential in women. And yeah, and I do think that, we are feeling the effects of this inequality in gender, and because of that, I don't want people to be seen inferior just because of that, or because of the gender rather. Yeah, and yeah, I hope that answers the question.
I'm pretty sure it does. Did Renee or Casey have any more questions for Jess? Or
Not for me.
Sure, I'm quite interested in what are you guys' objectives in joining this human library today? Are you all looking to explore a career in the social sector, or or seeing how you can effect change in your community or anything? Yeah, I'll be happy to answer those as well.
I guess our participants were put a bit on the spot. That's okay. We could just give everybody maybe a few minutes to just think about it. If you guys want to come back to it, maybe while we're doing that, I'll just ask Jess another question just to keep this going. So how long do you see yourself in contributing to the social sector, or what would be your next steps from here?
I think for me, knowing the why in what I do is very important, and in a way, I'm somewhat of a purpose-driven person, and I do see being in the social sector serves that need, because I really believe that everybody has a role to play in society beyond just yourself. And it's about making the world a better place lah. And I do think that the social service sector especially seeks to bring out equity lah to everybody in society. So for as long as I'm working, I will ideally want to be in the sector. And what are my next steps? I think I shared with Cynthia earlier, I do hope to be with PO as long as PO is around, because I really believe the good work that they're doing on the ground. And sometimes it's quite difficult to find an organization which is, and the people in organizations that are aligned with your personal values and beliefs. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Jess. I think the participants wanted to come back to that question by Jess earlier on. Are you guys looking, or we can skip over it? I'm fine with that too. That's okay. Right, I think we'll move on to 3 rapid fire questions that we're just gonna get Jess to answer and maybe just share her thoughts. So one of our first rapid fire question is, could you share with us a common misconception that people have about working in the social service sector?
So I think probably the top of mind is that people always think that anybody who joins the social sectors is purpose and passion driven. I think yes and no, because sometimes as you interact with more people in the sector, you do come across people who may not be in it for the quote unquote right reasons, forever what it means to you lah. So yeah, so I think that is the biggest misconception. These are people that are just about pursuing this idealistic purpose, but it may not be the case lah. And yeah, and just have to come. Sometimes you being in there as an idealistic individual, you do have to come to terms with that.
Yep. Then moving on to the second question. Could you share with everybody just one advice that you would give to anyone planning to work in the social service sector?
Okay. Social service sector. Yeah, okay. I think the biggest advice I would give to anybody coming into the sector is don't forget to take care of yourself as much as you're taking care of the beneficiaries and they are hoping to effect change and bring about change through their lives. I think usually people in this sectors are givers. They really pour out their time and passion towards the cause that they want to achieve and support in. And oftentimes they kind of forget about their own personal me time and understanding that you are also an individual with limited energy and time lah. So knowing and believing that what you are doing is at the best that you can, and don't burn out while you're in this role, I think it's very important for anybody that is entering the sector.
That's very lovely advice. And the very last rapid fire question, and very much in line with the theme of the session, would you say that finding meaningful work is important to you?
As I shared earlier, for me, in my career, I always need to know the why, and knowing that what I do is aligned with my values and beliefs. However, I do want to caveat that this is something that you may not just derive from just work itself. So I guess as the earlier question Renee asked, you can actually effect change and achieve the purpose that you see yourself, or the purpose that you believe in, through personal time, work time outside of work. You could just be a community change maker, at a grassroots level. And so for me, yes, but I guess in a broader level, not necessarily.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jess. Did any of the participants have any more questions? Or if not, we may come to an end for today's session. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming with us for this session. Thank you, Jess, as well, for sharing with us your story. We hope everyone had enjoyed this hearing from Jess today. If you'd like to hear from more individuals working at other social sectors, we still have another 5 speakers sharing their stories on Thursday night, and you can still register at the links that you can find on Empower to Free's Facebook page via the events page. So yeah, feel free to join in on the other sessions as well, and we hope to see you there.